We got a Honda Civic in the shop and the rear windows aren't working. Let's go check it out. This is what we're working on today, a 2009 Honda Civic LX. And the complaint on this one is neither one of the rear windows seem to be working. They won't go up or down. Alright, we'll turn the key on, verify our complaint. We'll let that dinger go away. Now when I pulled it in, I did try to use the windows and I noticed the rear two didn't work. Not hearing anything going on with that. So it looks like that one's not working. And, well, what do you know? That one's working now. So that one's working, and then I'm hitting the other button. That one's not. So this one is still not working, but this one is. Let's try the other ones. Okay, that one works, and this one works. Alright, so right now, only this one is not working. But yeah, like I said, when I pulled it in, this one was also not working. So anytime we have more than one that's not working, I always just, want to make sure that our master switch is good and that this button is not activated, because if that button's activated, that removes the ground for all three of these switches. This one will still work, but this one won't. And obviously that's, if you got kids or dogs or something that might put their hand or paw in there and roll the window down, we don't want to do that, so you can activate it. But so obviously if your three windows are not working, make sure that's not engaged. But in this case, the rest of them are working, and right now this one's not, so we'll just go after this one today. Well, we know it doesn't work from the master switch. Let's make sure that it's not working at this door, and it's not. Okay, so it's not working here either. Let's go grab a wiring diagram, see what we're working with. Alright, I went and printed us up a wiring diagram. This model has auto up-down. I think only the DX does not have the auto up-down feature for the driver's door. So what that means is that we have a control unit inside of our master switch. That's really the only difference. If we didn't have the auto up-down feature, we would have no control unit. We would just have another switch inside the master switch that goes to the front driver door. But anyway, this box right here is our under hood fuse relay box. This box right here is our under dash fuse relay box. This box right here would represent our window switch, the master switch inside the front driver's door. And these are the three switches inside the door. And then this represents the actual master switch for the actual driver's door. Right here would be the three switches at the individual doors for the passenger windows, and then these would represent the three motors inside the passenger doors. And so if we look at how the power is flowing, we got power coming in, going through our fuse box inside or under the dash, and then it goes into the fuse box inside, and then it branches off. We got power that comes over here, and that feeds our master switch over here and feeds our control unit. And then it splits and goes over to a window relay, and then we have it coming to three different fuses, 30, 33, and 32, and those feed our three windows. So you can see that this relay controls the three passenger windows. So if our three passenger windows are not working, we want to make sure that this relay is working. Now in our case, we know that the front passenger door and the left rear are working. It's only our right rear that's not working, so we're not concerned with this. And if we look at our wiring diagram, this switch over here, that's the switch we were pressing to deactivate our three passenger switches. We know that that switch is okay because, once again, these two windows are working. So that means they all share a ground. They share this G503. So that means we know this ground is good, this switch is good, because these two windows were working and this shares the same ground. So we're not concerned right now with the ground. But what we don't know is if our fuse here is any good and our power feed is coming in to this switch. So we can start there, and then if this checks out, then we can move over to the door. So why don't we just make sure that we have power on fuse number 32 in the under dash fuse box. Now, in order to test this fuse, we need to make sure that it is powered up by this relay. In order for this relay to activate, we need to turn the key to the on position, and then the multiplex control unit will provide a ground to this side of the relay. Once this provides a ground, we already have power coming in full time. That will energize this coil. That creates a magnetic field. The magnetic field will close the contact here. That will allow power to flow to our three fuses So once we do that, then we can check the fuse. So that was a long way to say we need to turn the key on so that our power relay is energized. All right, I'm going to use a test light to check this fuse. There's our fuse box right there that we're going to be looking at. And because I'm old, I took a picture so I could see where the heck 30 and 32 and 33 are. But they're the 3 yellow fuses, the 20 amps right there. So if we blow it up, it's the 3rd row up. You can see we got 30, 32, 33. And so we're concerned with 32 right there. All right, test light hooked to ground right there. And hopefully I can do it with you guys in the way. Where's 32? That should be it right there. Hopefully you can see. There's one side of the fuse. And where is it? There's the other. So you can see we have power here. So it's not an issue with power, at least at the fuse. At least up to right here. Now, could the fuse be messed up or the box inside? Sure. But right now, that's good enough for me. We'll go over here and we'll test the power right here at the switch. Okay, now, as soon as we're right here, we can just pop this out. I'm just using a little trim tool. Typically, you can go right here and kind of just pop it up a little bit, just like that. And so pull it up on this end, and then it's clipped over here. So then we got to move it back to kind of get it out of there and free it like that. Now, what we don't want to do is break that little clip there. But we'll pull it out, and there's our connections right there. So we can go look at our wiring diagram and see, we can look for the wire that comes from fuse 32, and then we'll look for what which wires send power on the switch either up and down back over to our rear switch in the back. Okay, back over at our wiring diagram. This is our fuse 32, and so we want to make sure that our power on our red wire coming into our master switch is good. We can check that real quick, but what I'm more concerned about is the power coming out on our up and our down. So it looks like for up it's going to be light blue, and when we press down it's going to be red. So we're going to be looking for a red and a light blue and a red here. Now this one also could be purple, depending on if it's an early production. I'm not sure. I don't think this is an early production. I think we're dealing with red here. So I think we're looking for a red on pin 15 and a red on pin 14 and a light blue on pin 13. And if we look at the actual terminal connection here, we can see right here is what we're looking for, 13, 14, and 15. So we can start with 12. 12 is actually the ground. If we look over here, pin 12 is the ground for our main switch that goes to 503. So that's our main ground. And then 13, 14, and 15. 13 is our light blue, so we should have the ground, then our light blue, and then we should have 2 reds. 14 and 15 should be red. So let's go look for a black and light blue, red, and red. Okay, if we look at the back of the plug right here, where the wires go in, I believe the 2nd row down is what we're looking for. Here's our black wire right in the corner on the bottom. And then we have a light blue, and then a red, and a red. So that should be terminals 12, 13, 14, and 15. So we can just grab a test light, turn the key back on, and then just test those wires right there. All we got to do is touch the back of the terminal there just to see if it lights our test light. Alright, with the key on, let's do some quick checks with our test light. So this first one, pin 12, that's going to be a ground. We're not worried about that one right now. 13 is going to be a power, but only when we, what is that one? I think if we pull in the up position, that's power. And this red one, I believe, is going to be power, but only when we press down. And then this one should be coming from 32. So there we go. So we know we have power there. So from from fuse 32 over here, we are good to go. So now let's see if we press down, see if I can do this all in one shot. If we press down and we hold the camera like that, let's see if it lights our test light. And it does. Okay, so we know that we have power going down to the switch. Now let's see if we can hold it in the up position right there. See if I'm making good contact, and we'll go up. And can you see it? No, I don't think you could see it. And so we got power coming to the switch, and we got power going through the switch, going down and up. So we're good to go over here at the switch. Now we need to go over to the door. Okay, over here back at our wiring diagram, if we look between the switch here and the switch in the door, we can see that the wire colors don't change. We got light blue and red. So we're going to look for a light blue and a red over here at the switch in the door. Now we have to remember that you see that there's a break in the connection here. So we only have power coming down these two wires when we activate the switch, either up or down. So in order to test these, we need to be pressing the switch either up or down, and then we look for power over here. Of course, we need the key on. Now if we look here, coming off of fuse 32, we got another power wire. That's the purple wire, and that's so when we press the button here at the actual switch, it's going to be using this power. It won't be using the power coming over here. It's using the power over here on this purple wire, and then it either sends it this way or this way to run the motor. And so we'll need to test all three. We'll make sure that our purple wire has power with the key on, and then we'll make sure our light blue and our red wires have power when we press either up or down on the master switch. Over here at the rear switch, it's going to be the same thing. If we just kind of jam this under here, pop a little bit, it'll pop right up like that. And same thing, we don't want to break the clip over here, so we'll pull it up and this way. And then we can expose our wiring right here. So yeah, this is the little piece. We don't want to break that. So that's why don't pry it up from the front. Anyway, what were we looking for? A light blue, looks like that one right there, and a red and purple. So light blue, red, and purple are the ones we want to test right now. So that means the other two wires should be the wires going down to the window motor, and those we're going to test last. Alright, I got my test light grounded right there. Now we know that this purple wire should have power full time. We do have the key on still. And there we go. So we have power there. So now we just got to check our red and our blue, but I'm going to have to grab an assistant and have them help me out by pressing the buttons. Okay, I have an assistant, so we're going to go ahead and test this red wire. That should be our down. Okay, go ahead and press down. Okay, let off, do it again. Okay, so the down works, so we got power coming over here. Now this light blue one should be the up. Go ahead, press up. Alright, let off again. Alright, so down and up work, and so we know all of our power feeds are getting over here. Alright, now, seeing as it's easily accessible, we'll test the white and the blue wire that go down to our motor, and they're right there at the switch. So when we press up, we should have power on the white. When we press down, we should have power on the blue. And it doesn't matter if we press this switch or this switch, we should have power on both of those wires, either up or down. So let's go over the switch and we'll look for power on those two wires going down to our motor. Okay, so there's our white wire and there's our blue wire right there. So these are the two we need to test. If I remember correctly, blue is down. So you can see in the down position we have power there. And the white one, if we make good connection, pulling up, you can see we have power there. Now I'll have an assistant go and we'll do the same test with the switch over there at the door too and make sure that our power is coming through. Okay, so we'll do one last test just like before, but I'll have an assistant pressing the button over at the master switch and we'll make sure that the power is going through this switch. So we'll test that blue wire there. Okay, press down. Okay, so we're good there. And go ahead and press up. And we're good there. Alright, so both switches are working. Power is making it all the way through here. And so that's enough for me to go ahead and order another window regulator. We got a 99.9% chance that it's the bad window regulator. Now, could there be a problem between right here, the wiring, and the actual motor? Yes, but in all likelihood, we most likely have a bad regulator, and so that's what we're going to go ahead and get. Okay, now, although I'm pretty confident that we do have a bad window regulator, we do want to verify that our ground is getting back all the way over to G503. So I have another test light and I have it hooked up to one side of this circuit here, the white wire. So that means when I touch the blue wire and we press down, it should light it. So that means our ground is good and we're making it all the way back. So that was just a final test just to ensure that our ground is working, because we were using the ground on the door frame there. So now I'm confident we can go ahead and get a window regulator for this thing. I switched over to this test light for that last test because I modified it with that needle, and I can get in there and touch two terminals from the backside like that without worrying about it. Now you still got to be careful, because if we touch that while we're powered up, we could blow fuses or do some damage. So you still got to be really careful doing that stuff. But obviously something like this, because it's got a clip, I can't really do that. Or I would have to clip a needle or something to back probe, and then I really take a big chance of touching it and blowing stuff up. So that's why I use this, in case you were wondering. So for this one, the test light was our friend, that and some wiring diagrams. Now for those wiring diagrams, I do pay for service annually. If you don't want to do that, which can be costly and I would understand, then typically you can find them online sometimes if you look around. But also don't forget that you can buy short-term subscriptions for like a couple days or maybe 30 days, something like that, and then just print what you need and then you'll have them. A lot of times, you know, you can still save a lot of money by doing that than, you know, paying somebody like me to diagnose it. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Now I'm confident that this has a bad window regulator, but we will do one final test before we go ahead and replace it. But now we've done enough testing where I'm confident we'll go ahead and order a new window regulator. In this case, I got an ultra cheapo one coming. It's only like 35 bucks. So we're going to see if we can't fix this car for 35 bucks. So stay tuned for that video. And as always, if the video helped you out, you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.